Most people think selling and persuasion means convincing someone to do something they do not want to do. You have a product. They are unsure. So you push, persuade, and try to close the gap. And if you have ever tried to market your own business, you have probably felt this. You sit down to write something, a post, an ad, a landing page, and it feels like you are forcing it. Like you are trying to make something sound more exciting than it actually is. And then you put it out, and it disappears. Not negative, just nothing. And you start thinking, maybe I need better persuasion. Maybe I need stronger hooks. Maybe I need more urgency. But what if the problem is not how hard you are trying to convince people? What if the problem is that you are trying to convince them at all? Selling is not persuasion, it's recognition. The best marketing is not trying to persuade people, it describes them. So precisely that they stop and think this is exactly what I'm going through. And in that moment, something changes. You are no longer being sold to, you feel understood. And when someone feels understood, they lean in. Persuasion creates resistance, recognition removes it. That is where trust actually begins. Not when you impress someone, when they feel seen. Think about the last time you read something and thought, this is exactly my situation. You did not feel sold to, you felt seen. And the brand that made you feel seen became the one you trusted to solve that problem. This is not a coincidence. That is the mechanism. When someone sees themselves in your message, you do not need to push as hard. You do not need tricks or pressure, because they have already made a quiet decision. This person, this brand, they get me. And once that happens, the offer makes more sense. The product feels more relevant, and the message feels more believable. Not because you improved your persuasion, but because you improved your understanding and showed it. Some marketing feels effortless. Other marketing feels like a struggle. The difference is not how clever it is. It's how accurate it is. Here is where most businesses go wrong. They describe their product instead of describing their customer. And that gap between what you are talking about and what they are actually thinking about is where most marketing goes to die. Take your last piece of content. Look at it honestly. How many sentences are about your product? And how many are about the person you serve? For most business owners, it's something like 8-to-1. 8 product sentences for every 1 person sentence. And that ratio is the whole problem. Because your audience spends 0 time thinking about your product. They spend all their time thinking about their own situation, their frustration, their goals, their life. The businesses that sell well have the opposite ratio. Most of their marketing describes the person. A small part of it describes what they offer as a solution. When someone reads a description of their own situation in accurate, specific language, they do not feel marketed to. They feel like they have found something that was made specifically for them. That feeling is worth more than any persuasion tactic, because it's not manufactured, it is recognition. Now here's the most practical version of all of this. It is not just about describing your customer, it's about how you describe them. There is a big difference between struggling to optimize operational efficiency and I feel like I'm doing everything right and nothing is working. One sounds like marketing born in the meeting room. The other one sounds like a real person. The most powerful thing you can do is use the exact words your customer uses to describe their problem to someone they trust. Not in a meeting, not in a strategy session, at a dinner, when they are frustrated, when they are tired, when they are being honest. When you use those words, the reaction is not good at. It's how did you know exactly what I'm going through? And that moment is when the trust forms. Describe the situation in their own language. Earn the trust. Earn the right to present a solution. Most marketing skips the first step and goes straight to the solution. That is why it disappears. Nobody cares about your solution until they feel understood. Here's what I want you to do before you close this video. Think about your product, not at the product feature level, not at the benefit level, at the level of the problem it solves, or the enemy it fights, or the life it enables. Write it down. One rule: do not mention your product. Just describe the situation. Try going from "we offer fast, reliable delivery" to something more like "you stop losing customers because your supplier let you down again." Same product, different level. One of those disappears into the feed. One makes someone stop. Write it down now, before you close the tab, before you move to something else. Because this is where the shift happens. Not when you understand the idea, when you actually apply it. That rewrite is the whole game. Stop describing your product and start describing the person you're trying to serve. That is how you stop being the business that sounds like every other business in your category and start being the one people actually remember. And once they remember you, you do not have to convince them anymore. You just have to show up. The fun thing is you are not inventing anything new here. You simply start answering different questions. Knowing how to describe the person is one layer. Knowing what level to describe them at, which problem to name, which life to point toward, that is the layer underneath. And that is what most of this channel is about. If this changed how you think about selling and persuasion, there's a lot more in that direction. Link in the description. And the next video is a good place to start.